Hello everybody, I'm Zoe, and welcome back to 5 Minute Science. Today we'll be discussing about food additives, more specifically caffeine. Today I'm joined with special guest, food scientist Marissa.
Hello. Thank you for having me on your show today. Before we start, tell me, what is caffeine?
Well, to start off, the chemical formula for caffeine is C8H10NO02. It can be commonly found in almost 60 different plants. It is made naturally, but to manually produce it, it's chemically synthesized in many ways. The main process involves the chemical synthesis of urea as a raw material, and is then combined with many chemicals such as methylene chloride, ethyl acetate, and carbon dioxide.
Wow, cool. Now to talk about how it works, to understand caffeine, adenosine must be understood first. Adenosine is created in the brain and binds to the adenosine receptors. This is essential to our body, but once caffeine is consumed, it will bind to the receptors as well. So, a higher concentration of caffeine is binded, thus having the concentration of adenosine binding to the receptors decrease. But when caffeine is used, it doesn't have the effect to slow down cells like adenosine. All this results in the cell's activities increasing. The addictive quality comes from how caffeine affects dopamine neurotransmitters and how the speed of dopamine reabsorption is reduced.
Now financially, there are many people who love to consume caffeine almost daily. Since a caffeinated product can cost on average $4, if it were to be bought every day, the yearly average would be $1,500. With the consumers drinking caffeine every day, there can be benefits and risks. First, there are many risks that come with the consumption of added caffeine. Possible health risks include a raised blood pressure, increased risk for heart attack, insomnia, obesity, and more. Not only that, but caffeine can impose an environmental risk to animals. Since caffeine is also naturally produced in plants, it can be dangerous to those insects and animals who are herbivores.
Yes, but that's only if you consume too much caffeine. There are some claimed benefits that comes with drinking caffeine. Some benefits may include reducing the risk of liver cancer by 50% and having the risk of mouth and throat cancer.
If there's so many risks compared to benefits, then why do we use it? This is because many food industries would add it as a stimulant to keep people awake. Not only that, but since caffeine is very bitter, it counteracts the sweetness in some products.
That's pretty interesting. That explains why it's so widely used around the world. Fun fact, did you know that Canada is the 18th worldwide in the consumption of caffeine? Many other countries like to produce and use caffeine because it's very common and easily accessible. Many companies produce caffeinated products for the consumers to enjoy.
Caffeine has a very prominent effect on the economy. The businesses that rely on caffeine offer plenty of jobs to employ the population, as well as creating jobs in other countries. And because there's so much business revolving around caffeine, companies that use caffeine generate billions of dollars each year. But what if caffeine were suddenly be banned?
There are some implications that can occur from banning the use of caffeine as an additive. Caffeine is an important additive that is added into many beverages, especially in energy drinks. As we talked about before, caffeinated beverages are consumed worldwide by almost every country. If it were to be banned, many companies would be put out of the markets because people are no longer buying their products that contain caffeine.
But on the other hand, what would happen if companies were given the freedom of no restrictions and are able to self-regulate the uses of caffeine? Many have strong opinions with this idea. To those who may agree would be those who are in the business industry, as they are able to sell and benefit from this. Meanwhile, those who may oppose could be dietitians or those who are concerned for the health risks, because it can be dangerous for the consumers if they aren't aware of how much caffeine is added.
But then how should we regulate our caffeine? An idea that can be proposed is that Canada could adopt Sweden's regulations, as Sweden has been moving towards a regulation where grocery stores are not to sell energy drinks to those under 15. This can be beneficial as it can decrease the chances of early health risks in youth and yet still offer caffeinated products to the general population.
I think that concludes our discussion for today. Tune in next week when we talk about the acid-base equilibrium.